Welcome to CC4C's Night to Uplift. In a year filled with many unexpected surprises, we hope that this evening will be one of the good ones. We have an amazing night of phenomenal wines from David Wine Cellar and chocolate truffles from the original chocolate bar. But before we dive right in, I wanted to give you a little history as to why I founded CC4C. After the long journey of my daughter Cheyenne's undiagnosed and then rare condition, I felt called to start something so other families would not have to experience this journey alone. I know many of you probably have had an extenuating circumstance that can place you into the shoes of what our families face on a daily basis. CC4C serves as an umbrella to bring all of these children and their families under one community of support. And there they have thousands of cheerleaders cheering them on to their finish line of healing. We do this by covering medical reimbursements not covered by insurance, our health and well-being supports, and unforgettable experiences. To date, we have helped more than 100 children. And what sets us apart and is unique about CC4C is we support these children throughout their entire childhood. Tonight, you'll learn how this magical combination of supports helps enhance the quality of life for children in Texas with rare or undiagnosed conditions. And more importantly, how you can be part of their dream team. I'm so excited for you to meet our sweet little Charlotte and her family. But before we dive right in, please allow me to lift up our children in prayer. Dear God, I thank you so much for the creation of your masterpiece, Cheyenne's Champions for Children. And God, we pray over every dollar that is raised this evening that it would be magnified 100-fold into healing of these children who long to return to the childhood they deserve. I pray that you bless every single person that has helped this mission press forward. In Jesus' name, amen.
Hi, I'm Kara Fox, CC4C's Chief Engagement Officer. Our mission here at CC4C is to enhance the quality of life for children in Texas with rare and undiagnosed conditions. We do that in 3 ways. The first is by providing direct financial assistance to families for medical expenses that are not reimbursable by insurance. The second is by providing mental health and well-being support to children and their families. And the third is by creating joyful memory-making experiences to help uplift and encourage our kids along their journeys. Creating joyful memory-making experiences is something we had to completely rethink this year because many of our kids were strictly quarantining due to COVID. We've learned a lot about how to bring people together even when we're apart. And tonight, we're thrilled to introduce our friend David Mebin of David Wine Cellars. David has a love of wine and a love of bringing people together over wine. And tonight, we're very grateful that he's here to share a rare wine and chocolate tasting experience with you.
Yeah, well, thanks for letting me jump in for CC4C today.
Thank you, David.
Well, you are welcome. So one of my favorite things to do is talk about wine, and the only thing I like more than that is to drink wine. So I've got 3 here for us, which I'm going to talk about, but one of the first things you got to do when you're having wine, especially with your reds, is decant them. So we're going to start with that, and while we're going through that, tell you a little bit about kind of my history and how I fell in love with French wines. So my wife and I moved to Paris immediately after school for work, and I didn't have any appreciation for wine. Had spent some summers in wine in France during college, but just hadn't developed that. But once you start living there, you start drinking wine at dinner and at lunch and on occasion breakfast. Right? There's the famous phrase: you can't claim rosé all day if you don't start before 10 a.m. So we're not going to be having a rosé today, one of the best sounds in the whole world. So we're going to get this going. We'll talk about decanting and serving temperature here in just a little bit. So I'm just going to give us a little bit for a tasting. That should be good. And I'll take this one off. And so, living in Paris for 10 years, just introduced us to all these different regions, which is this map over my shoulder, which I'll talk about in a second. And I know French wine is confusing sometimes for Americans, and I get that because I'm used to my, classic California Cab or California Merlot. And when you run into grapes like this one I'm pouring, which is a Gamay, people say, I don't even know what that means, so I don't want to try them and stay away. And so my job today is to teach you guys about some new grapes, some new fun wines from some regions of France you may or may not have heard of before, and then kind of how I like to enjoy them. To be clear, I'm not a sommelier, so that's not my skill set. I can't smell this and say, oh, that's tobacco and this and that. The good part about wine is you're never wrong, right? So it's whatever you taste is great for you, whatever I taste is great for me, and everyone has fun, and that's awesome. So a few things we're going to start with. First of all, and I'm going to pull the white out, which I've been having in our ice bag to be cold. I should open that as well. A few things about French wine. If you're at a restaurant, you should be able to look all the way across the restaurant and immediately know which region your bottle is from because of the shape of the bottle. All right, so I'm going to put these two next to each other and that one right there. So none of these are Bordeaux, which is a classic bottle that we're all used to seeing, but this is from Sancerre, which is in the Loire Valley. This is a Sauvignon Blanc, and this is from the Côte du Rhône. This is a Gamay. And you can see these are almost the same. This one's a little bit taller on its, where it starts to kind of come out. This one's just a little bit skinnier. And then this is a Côte du Rhône. So if you look at those three bottle shapes, you should be able to be in any restaurant in France and look all the way across and say, hey, I know what kind of bottle that is. And then if you know, in the new world, so in the States, we would look at a label and say, oh, that says Merlot or Cabernet Sauvignon or something like that. It's always written. In the old world, so in France, of course, everything is classified geographically. And so the bottles are done geographically. The grapes are therefore geographic. And so if someone says, hey, I'm having a white Sancerre, you should know, or you would have to know automatically, that means Sauvignon Blanc. Does not mean Chardonnay. Could be a Chenin Blanc, but this one's going to be a Sauvignon Blanc. If you look at, you say I have a white Burgundy, you just know that's going to be a Chardonnay. So it's a little bit more complicated. You have to know your geographic region, which again you can determine by bottle shape. Then if you know your color, then that's going to give you an idea of what different type of grape you're going to have on the inside of the bottle.
It's probably a good thing I live in the United States and don't have to know all that.
Well, it's a lot, and that's why it's confusing.
I can't believe how much there is.
Well, people are just used to asking for what they want. I want the cab, and I can read on the label. So the old world wines are just a little bit, they're not more complicated. You just have to have just a little bit more knowledge about which grapes are grown in which regions. And so we're going to start.
So interesting.
It is fun. It just makes everything a little bit more fun. It's a bit of a mystery, but really fun. Second thing I'm going to tell you guys about is when you get a French bottle of wine, and I don't know if you can see this, but you'll see what says Appellation Contrôlée. And every one of these, you can see it here on the back of the label, AOC, and down here on the bottom. So if you have what's called, it looks like appellation controlled with the geographic region in the middle, that means you have the highest level of French wine. And so all three of these are the highest of the four. And what that means is they have to follow certain rules to be classified as this. So how are they picked by hand, no machines, things like that. In France, you can't do anything to your vines at all during the year. So you literally get what God gives you every year. In California, they can irrigate, they can, that's the big thing is water. So how much water, how much sun, and you're going to have, your 2014 vintage, 2015 are going to taste kind of the same in California because they're shooting for that same taste. In France, you might have, this is a 2019, this is a 17, this is a 19 as well. You may have 19, 18, 17, and they'll all taste completely different because you literally get what God gives you each and every year.
So it's actually a lot cleaner product.
Yeah, exactly. So you'll hear people say, clean crafted or something like that. Well, clean crafted, these are as clean crafted as you can get. There's nothing, you can't add anything to any of these. So people say, oh, it's with added sulfites. That's absolutely not true. There's a rumor that the French will add sulfites to come to the American market. Completely false. So this is literally what God gave them in 2019 for the Sauvignon Blanc. There's nothing added. It's all done by hand. It's fabulous. So my wife and I, Kelly and I, went specifically to this vineyard about 2 years ago. This is in a little town called Bouet. When I say little, I mean little village outside of Sancerre, which in of itself is tiny. So in Bouet, you have this Sauvignon Blanc, Franck Millet. His wife Betty gave us our wine tasting, and we loved it so much that we started to bring it and import it here. And then one of these things I always bring out through these little foil. People think they're bumper stickers or coasters. They're not. What these are made to do is you fold it up like this, and that's your no drip spout. So if you ever see those around, that's your no drip spout. So that's a good thing. We don't need those on the reds because we're going to use the decanter. So
will those be in people's boxes?
They certainly can be.
If you want it, is it good to have or not?
They are good to have, yeah, especially with the red if you're coming straight from the bottle because you don't get drips on your tablecloth.
And then you just wash it and reuse it.
You wash it and reuse it. It's just foil. You wash and reuse it. So we're going to start now. Here's your glass. We're going to start with move all of this out of the way because it's getting messy already, which is good. Wine tastings are messy, and wine tastings are typically judged by how many glasses you have on the table. So we're going to have 6. White glass, you guys probably know, is very different from a red. You're always looking for surface area on a red, which is why they're shaped differently. So we'll have these for those 2 reds over there. On a white, you don't have to decant it. You want to serve it chilly, about say 45 to 50 degrees. So that's why it's in an ice bag right here. And in case you were curious, where Sancerre is. So here's your map. So Paris is here on the top. Sancerre is almost directly south in the Loire Valley, right on the Loire River right there. So this is just across from Burgundy's right across the river. So they're on the west side, and then Burgundy be right across on the east side of the Loire River. So here we go. Now all wines have different acidity, different temperature. You want to serve it at different grapes, obviously, different soil in which it was grown. So I'm not that good. Wines are incredibly complex. Again, this is not my normal job. I just love to drink it. But I do love this color. I personally prefer a Sauvignon Blanc to a Chardonnay. That's just me. That doesn't mean anyone else is wrong. Have a taste. See
How about
what
a
you
toast
think.
first?
Yeah, santé, huh? CC for C. Here we go.
Yes.
So when you drink it,
teach
first
me how.
yeah,
You
that's
need
right.
to teach
so
me.
first you want to
This is
smell
my
it.
first sip of alcohol or wine,
Well,
so you have to teach me everything.
You mean today? So first you want to do is smell it, right? So you can swirl it around a little bit, but get your nose in there and give it a good smell. I mean, things that people have with this is grapefruit, passion fruit. It's crisp. Like Sauvignon Blancs are known for really crisp. It's dry. It's cold. It's temperature-wise, it's cold. I love this. This is my favorite white wine on planet Earth. So I'm glad we're getting to taste it today. So smell it a few times, and then just enjoy.
That is fantastic.
I love it. I think it's great. So I love this stuff. You keep drinking, I'll keep talking.
Okay. I hope I'm still standing by the end of this.
Yeah. So pairings. People are like, oh, what are you going to eat with that? Or what are you going to have? So cheese is great. This is a great thing before dinner, like an aperitif.
Okay.
You can certainly have it with dinner. You could go with chicken. You could go with turkey. You could go with any type of seafood, oysters, salmon, any type of fish. I wouldn't throw it in with the hamburger. Probably not anyway. But beef, a steak, this is not your wine for that. This is something great on a hot summer afternoon, great on your back porch, great around a campfire in the summer, great on the boat, just when it's warm outside. That's something we love. So this is it's refreshing. I find it very refreshing. So I'm a big fan of this, and I'm glad we had it today. There you go. So we'll come back to that in one second. We'll put those over here on the side. All right, so we finished on Sancerre. So we're moving on through our meal, right? And we've got 2 reds coming up. So we've decanted both of them. Hasn't really been 30 minutes, but we're going to pretend it's been 30 minutes. And if you want to go longer, truthfully, mine's about an hour. So I store these in a fridge out here in the garage. Big industrial fridge. And what I will do is bring them inside, pour them in the decanter, then I'll put the decanter back in the fridge, and I will bring it out of the fridge about an hour ahead of time when I expect to drink it, and put it on the table, let it warm up. If you ever have white wine, again, it's supposed to be served cold, that's why it's in an ice bag. If you ever drink red wine and the thing you taste, I say that in quotes, if you taste the temperature, meaning you're like, oh, this is a cold liquid, it's too cold for the red wine in particular. So you want to let that warm up. Optimum serving temp is 60, 62, 65 degrees, something like that. So again, this is 45, 50. Let's call it 60, 65.
Okay.
All right. Now again, everything with red is about surface area. That's why we have red glasses that offer surface area. That's why we're putting that in the decanter. We're going to start with this bottle. So this is what's called a Gamay. That's the grape is Gamay.
Okay.
And raise your hand if you've ever gone to the liquor store and said, give me the Gamay. No one's ever said that, right? Exactly. So real quick, where that's from, it's Côte du Rhône. Excuse me, it's a Beaujolais. So Beaujolais is right over here, near Lyon. You guys have heard of the city of Lyon. So it's just below Burgundy. You can see Burgundy's one color, Beaujolais is the other one just below it. And so that's from Beaujolais. It's 100% Gamay, which is again a grape that's not super popular, but it's fabulous. It's one of the lightest, if not the lightest, red grape. So it's great to start. It's super versatile. You can eat it with, you can go beef on this. You can have chicken. It's great in the summertime because it's not super heavy like a Merlot, etc. So we will have
Gamay.
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 Gamay. Gamay.
Okay.
And so you're gonna taste like cherry, plum, red fruit. Basically, it might be a little bitter on the end of it. But the fun part about wine is what? Can never be wrong.
That's right.
So it's whatever you think it is, works for you.
Thank you.
Ça c'est pour vous. So you can swirl a little bit. You want to smell, so get your nose in there. Obviously, it smells very different than the Sancerre, which is normal.
So good.
And so you can see it's light too. See how light that red is? So, a Merlot or a Cab would be super dark. So this is very light. And then you can give it a go.
Oh, love this one too.
It's good. It's really good. So if you've heard of Beaujolais, the region, again, up here on the map, so a famous wine that people have probably heard of is called the Beaujolais Nouveau, which means new. Nouveau is new. So it's a new Beaujolais. The wine's not super good. I mean, that's not true. The wine is good. It's maybe not as refined as something like this, but it's very young. And so it's made to be drunk young. And they have a party, and I should look at the date. I don't remember when it is, but there is a specific date when the Beaujolais Nouveau gets shipped all over France and all over the world, really, and here in the States as well. And it's not allowed to be sold and therefore consumed until midnight, which is really 12:01 a.m., I should say, on this specific day. So people stay up till midnight, have huge parties in France for the Beaujolais Nouveau. And there's all these signs and restaurants. Le Beaujolais Nouveau est arrivé, has arrived. And so everyone shows up at midnight and they wait till the stroke of 12:01, and then the Beaujolais Nouveau comes out. And what's really fun, if you look at the map also, you can obviously see France, you got the English Channel, and then you got the UK up here. The UK is 1 hour behind. So there's a big race every year, helicopter, boat, train, of course the Eurostar, and they will buy it at 12:01, maybe in Dieppe or Calais up here, and they will race across the channel and get it to the UK. So they bought it legally. It can be opened legally in France. They'll get it across the channel and be able to drink it before midnight in the UK. And there's a race every year to get the Beaujolais
Have you
Nouveau.
ever been to any of
Not to the race. I've been to the parties, yeah.
Really?
It's
That's
just fun.
so
It's just
fun.
the French don't need too many opportunities or reasons to drink wine, so that makes it kind of fun. So same region, different grape, but same region. So we'll try it again real quick.
Love the way this one smells.
Yeah, it's really good. And again, Gamay is, few people go to the liquor store and say, hey, give me the Gamay, right? So it's a new grape.
I'm going to try saying that.
You should try it. Yeah, they may fall over. You never know.
What are you talking about?
That's right. So try that Gamay from Beaujolais, and very light red. In fact, and leave your glass here because we're going to compare it to the next one now.
Okay.
So now I'm going to let you pour since you got the decanter over there. So that's here. So now we're going to move on to our third wine. Going to be a little bit heavier. It is from the Côte du Rhône, which is going to be on this very southern area. You've heard of the Rhône River. Starts at Lake Geneva, which is this right here, runs through Lyon, runs all the way down the Mediterranean. So Côte du Rhône is right down here. You may have heard of a Châteauneuf-du-Pape region, which is part of the Côte du Rhône. And so this is from a vineyard called Rouge Bleu, which means red blue. And this gentleman is actually sat right here at our kitchen table, right here in our house. So his name is Thomas. And he came here about 2 years or so ago and brought all his wines, and it was the first time I had actually tasted them in person. So you don't even have to go to France to do a wine tasting; they can come right here to your living room.
To David's
here.
wine cellar, they'll come now.
Well,
Come
you can do that, but you can come right
I
here.
don't
to
think they come
Austin,
to my
Texas.
house, but they will come to
Well,
yours.
we can come. I'll go to your house. And so he brought this, and it's called Mistral. So if you look at the front, so Mistral is named after the winds. So the southern France, there's these northern winds that are cold and they're really brisk, and they come right through here, right through this Rhone River Valley, and it's called the Mistral winds, and this wine is named after it. It's a GSM, which is a classic Rhone wine. G stands for Grenache, another grape that not everyone walks in the store and says, give me the Grenache, right? No one ever says that, but it's really, really good. So it's Grenache, it's a blend of Grenache, mostly Grenache, Syrah, which you've heard of, Syrah, and then Mourvèdre, which you probably haven't heard of before.
I haven't heard of that.
And so it's 3 grapes in here. Again, a classic GSM blend. A Grenache is going to be a little bit heavier than this, which is we can compare and see. I mean, they're almost the same. It's going to be a little bit heavier, and it's wonderful. So you can still have it just like the gamay with the steak or chicken, maybe even some seafood if you want something like that. But a great summer red, since we're moving into summer right now and it's getting warmer.
Does it go with chocolate?
Everything goes with chocolate.
Oh, great.
Red wines in particular go with chocolate.
I have plenty here to eat from the chocolate bar.
I want to hurry up on the wine so I can dig into the chocolate over here. But I'm trying,
as long as it goes with chocolate, we're good.
Right? Yeah. So that's going to be good too. I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, so try this, same thing. Have your smell. It should smell differently than the gamay, which it does. You can swirl it. I said 30 minutes for decant. If you can do an hour, you can do 2 hours, even better. You can't really go wrong. 2 hours, even 3 hours. But at least 30 minutes. Give yourself an hour if you can. Make sure it's not too cold temperature-wise when you taste it.
Kenny would love this one.
I've been with Kenny. He likes wine. Yeah.
He would love them all.
Spicy, a little bit on here. Tobacco, maybe. And I'm not.
I haven't tasted tobacco, so I don't.
That's true. Yeah. You're not a chain smoker still, like you were in college? We went to college together, in case you didn't know. So that's how I know. I'm kidding. Well, we did go to college together.
That's why it's maroon.
That's right. We're both Aggies too. Yeah. That's true. And we share the same birthday. She's an hour older than me.
And wiser. Yes.
Debatable. And so, so this is great. My wife and I, we drink it all the time. I love this. It's a great vineyard. These are super small vineyards. So one of the fun things about these wines, you won't find these at Total Wine or Twin Liquors. So the idea is to have wines that are not impossible to find, but almost impossible to find. Things that are good. You don't have to go buy, gazillion. There's no reason to ever spend $100 on a bottle of wine. These are, $30, $25, things like that. So you can have great wines from super small vineyards. These are mom and pops. These are not the Robert Mondavis of France, right? Where you have gazillions of barrels and gazillions of bottles.
Well, one of my favorite things is that they're so clean as well.
They are clean.
I'm a wellness connoisseur.
I know you are.
That's why I only drink your wine.
That's right. Well,
I know I can trust them.
It's hard to get more authentic and more natural than, again, what literally God gives you every single year. So that's really fun. So we have lots of wine to drink. We'll probably revert back to our white and then work our way through our reds. When you guys are doing tastings at home or pairing with your meals, you want to start with your white probably, or some bubbles would be great. We're coming to the summertime. Rosé is wonderful right now. Rosé is awesome. Again, I said rosé all day is a phrase that everyone should adopt every once in a while, but you have to start by 10 a.m. if you're going to claim that.
I bet you do that.
I have been known on occasion, especially in France, to sit out there in the park and do that. But wine's great. There's, this is just France. There's obviously Spain. There's Italy. There's Germany. There's all over the U.S., Australia. I mean, there's wine everywhere. There's Texas wine. There's wines everywhere. The fun part is just try all kinds of, I would encourage anyone watching today or yourself or myself to try new things. Don't get stuck on, I only drink here and I only drink that grape, because that's boring. And you should have a little bit more variety in your wine choice. And I have a feeling that people will be surprised and say, hey, I actually kind of like that. I never heard of the gamay, but I'd like the gamay.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, it'd be fun. So,
well, great.
Are we moving to chocolat?
So, bite into this delicious chocolate. You can choose first. Okay. These truffles, there's mint, salted chocolate, hazelnut, or cheesecake.
Well, I love cheesecake, and so I'm going to go with that. Can we cheers?
And again, this goes with all the wine.
Cheers chocolate?
Yes. Cheers.
So good. You cannot go wrong with chocolate.
These are delicious. So David, here's a cheers, chocolate cheers, to your amazing wine education, which I needed when I turned 21. Thank you for sharing all this with CC4C.
Of course.
And to the chocolate bar, thank you for these amazing truffles. Thank you.
Being parents, I think, is something we always wanted to be.
After we brought Charlotte home, it was so great just to have her finally there. It was months of anticipation for her to come, and so it was so great.
I just You know, I remember not sleeping for like 3 days straight because I was just so full of adrenaline and like, just like, oh my gosh, this is incredible.
I would hold her and rock her and just look at her perfect little toes and perfect hands, and she was just like a perfect, beautiful baby. Maybe around like 9 or 10 months, it was pretty early, I'd noticed that she wouldn't follow me, like track me with her eyes when I'd walk across the room. And then, I guess around 14 months, Charlotte had lost her previously acquired words, mama, daddy. She'd say things like hi, and all those were gone one night. And then she went from walking back to crawling. She was a little bit older than 2 years old. And then we went and saw a neuropsychiatrist, and she got her initial autism diagnosis.
The line she said was like, you may have had dreams that you're walking her down the aisle when she gets married, and you need to learn to let those go. After that diagnosis, we were kind of really feeling hopeless, and Kim took it upon herself to, you know, find other alternative means to help Charlotte. And one of those was a research study at Duke, or stem cells.
They were taking umbilical cords from live births and extracting the stem cells from them and then infusing them into children with autism. I was hopeful, but I didn't want to be too hopeful. And the next day after her infusion, she was speaking.
Yeah.
And I'm, you know, oh my gosh, this is crazy. She woke up and she's like, hi, Daddy. And I'm like, just tears streaming down my face.
I remember she asked the TV to be on.
Yeah, she asked for the TV to be on.
There was a moment there where we thought that we were going up. You know, we thought things were going great. But then we also noticed some other new things beginning to happen. Then she just totally bottomed out. There was a period there for 3 months. She never slept at all. She was hallucinating. She was just, something was wrong.
She'd just scream and scream, and I'd hold her so tight, and she'd eventually pass out on me for like 5 to 10 minutes, and that was it. And then she'd go back to just screaming and ripping her hair out. It was just like so scary.
And just all of a sudden, it just got very severe.
After that point, there was a doctor that I had met with before for an autism diagnosis. And so she was like, get stem cells, give her Benadryl, give her ibuprofen. We can run testing on this later, but I think it's pandas. And I said, what's pandas? Like the little bear? Like,
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I don't know what this is. After that point, she had given me some direction, but I was still like, we need to get stem cells. This has helped Charlotte in the past. And I was reaching out to everyone I know. And there was a lady in a clinic in the Midwest that said, I'd like to do this treatment for your daughter for free. So I was like, pack the car, let's take this kid. You know, we haven't slept in 3 months. And she gave Charlotte the stem cell infusion, and Charlotte slept for literally 2 days. After that, a lot of the symptoms just started to fall off. And then at that point, I said, you know, combined with what this other doctor is telling us, this is giving us our child back. And so I Googled and I found CC4C, and I said, you know, the worst they can say is no, but, you know, I'll try. You know, Charlotte fits the criteria of a rare diagnosis, and maybe they can help.
And CC4C gave us a glimmer of hope. One huge benefit of CC4C has been for our family, and especially for Charlotte, has been the ability to keep consistent care. It's in the course of, you know, the 7 years so far in Charlotte's life, I've had to change jobs 7 times to keep insurance that covers her therapy, all the tests, and CC4C gave us some padding to be able to, you know, keep that going.
I found so much peace once I started talking to other parents that had gone through, you know, similar things with their children. And it made me realize that I need to stop comparing Charlotte to every other child, because that steals so much joy.
Yeah.
You know, they have soccer games, they have dance recitals, and I am just so grateful that my kid can walk. She can write her name. She's so proud of writing her name now. And like those things, like knowing that she's spent 40 hours a week in therapy just to accomplish something that comes so easy to other children, I'm so proud of her.
Part of that change has happened where, you know, I took what that neuropsychologist said at heart. Maybe she'll never learn how to drive. Maybe she'll never walk down the aisle. But she's happy.
Charlotte, in her short life, has gone from a severe diagnosis to where we were told she might never walk, talk, be independent, to now she's considered high functioning. And the panda's symptoms have disappeared entirely. But she's a little social butterfly. She loves being around children her own age. So I'm really looking forward to her going to public school in the fall. That's huge for us.
When we were in some of our dire straits of trying to make it as parents, CC4C gave us opportunities that otherwise I would never have thought that I would be able to wear a tie to, right? And Kim would get dressed up for. We were able to go to those galas and feel like adults. For a while there, we just lived in our homes and went to work because we couldn't go do anything. And CC4C gave us periods of time where we could feel like we were a normal family.
Seeing the joy that Charlotte has when she's at these CC4C events, it really shows me how much change has occurred with her. Because I used to be so scared that I wouldn't take her out in public because I'd be so anxious and anxiety-ridden, thinking about what could happen. My kid could start screaming, she could hit someone, that sort of thing. So when we started going to CC4C events, we realized everyone here understands what we're going through. No one here would judge us if our kid had a meltdown in the middle of it. Yeah. And that made me so comfortable and want to go and to look forward to these things. Things like the CC4C Christmas party, the first year we went. I was very hesitant because Charlotte had been scared of Santa, previously, but she went and she was like, "Hey, Santa." And I was crying at the table because I was like, oh my gosh, this is such a normal, amazing, beautiful interaction.
5K was fun. When we got there, she was very scared. So I had to run around with her on my back. And she loved that. They all cheered and had this huge cutout of her and everything. It said, "Go Charlotte." And she just loved it. And we stopped there. And I think that event also showed me that I could do anything.
I just wanted to thank everyone at CC4C for being truly a friend and for giving us our daughter back. We were in such a dark place that we thought that this would be how it would be for the rest of our lives. And it's not. Charlotte has so much joy and she's so happy now, and we have CC4C to thank for that. And
thank you, CC4C and everyone involved. My dreams are back, and everything I could ever hope for, it's within reach. And y'all are a huge part of making that happen. Thank you.
You've been getting lots of texts and emails from us, and that's our children tugging at your heart. We invite you to click on the link and open up our app to enter our virtual dream factory. This is where we're making magic for all year long. You'll have an opportunity to support our kids by shopping our silent auction, buying unforgettable buy it now experiences, and most importantly, sponsoring a child so that you can walk alongside and uplift and encourage them all year long. So if you're feeling our children tugging at your heart, grab onto their hands, open the app, and raise your virtual paddle to sponsor a child. You'll get stories and updates all year long on your child and hear how you are uplifting, encouraging, and enhancing the quality of life for not just your child and their family, but every child that we serve. Tonight, we're asking you to join the CC4C Dream Team. We thank you, and so do our kids.
I like CC4C because of the surprises and friends.
Before CC4C,
I am going to the appointment.
our family was kind of living in survival mode. Every time we would get above water, it seemed like another current would drag us back down. But after CC4C, yeah, she got her hearing aids. So we thank you, CC4C.
Thank you.
I love you guys and thank you for making me feel special.
They've done so many amazing things for me and my family. It helped pay for a lot of my medical bills so my parents didn't have to worry anymore.
Thank you, CC4C, to make me happy and healthy.